Busch Stadium in downtown St. Louis. Another big crowd expected tonight, close to 40,000. Game 2 of this 4-game set, the Colorado Rockies and the St. Louis Cardinals. On the mound tonight for St. Louis, a man that went 4-1 in the month of June and pitched 2 shutouts. Chris Carpenter. He could be your starter in the All-Star game. Looking for victory number 12 tonight. If he gets that, he ties Dontrell Willis for the National League lead in wins. With my partner Al Hrabosky, I'm Dan McLaughlin. Welcome to Cardinals baseball. Great to have you with us. A disappointing loss for the Cardinals last night, but they come back with their stopper in many ways. This year, their ace, and that's Chris Carpenter.
Well, he's been outstanding. He's got 4 exceptional pitches. He's a great competitor. He's keeping the ball down, and right now he just doesn't need a lot of help, but he's got a great team behind him.
What has made him so nasty this year with that record of 3-0 in his last 3 starts?
Well, I think he's completely healthy. He's just a great competitor, and he's going out there executing his pitches at the bottom of the strike zone. He's got the cutter that can keep people off balance. He's got a changeup. He's got a great sinking fastball. You know, he's kind of like Matt Morris with 2 additional pitches. Well,
it's been disappointing to see the Cardinals go against left-handed starters. They're going to see one again here tonight. It's Joe Kennedy going for the Colorado Rockies, and for the Cardinals, it will be Chris Carpenter. We'll take our first time out of baseball here from Busch Stadium, and when we come back, we'll talk about 2 of the best first basemen, not just in the National League, but in the entire league. Todd Helton, Albert Pujols. We'll look at those 2 up next. Position at first base, Todd Helton and Albert Pujols. Albert Pujols starting tonight, 3rd best in the National League, hitting .339. The same cannot be said, though, for Todd Helton. This has been a down year in his 9th season here in the Bigs.
Starting to pick it up. He's got a 9-game hitting streak going. Albert has a 12, but these are 2 great hitters. And I think when you really see their numbers, they're really kind of similar. But Pujols, in about half the time, is probably a little bit and much better.
Let's take a look at those numbers. It's brought to you by Ford. It's our Ford Key matchup. Todd Helton, 9th season. Albert Pujols in his 5th, but identical numbers, as you mentioned, Al, and the average at .334. And the power numbers a little bit better for Albert.
Yes, they are. It's just, but exceptional hitters. But then you got to take into factor the Coors Field effect. That's going to inflate Helton's numbers a little bit. No way you want to downgrade him as a hitter because he's an outstanding player, all-around player, but I'll take Albert Pujols any day.
We are just moments away from our first pitch in our starting lineups here from Busch Stadium in downtown St. Louis. Glad you're with us on FSN Midwest. More to come in just a moment. Cardinals have a record of 49-29, 20 games above 500. It's been a struggle this season for Colorado at 27-50. A reason why the youngsters in their lineup. They'll start 5 rookies tonight, but some of these rookies putting up pretty good numbers when you talk about the RBI department. And leading the way, Garrett Atkins, he'll bat 5th tonight. Chris Carpenter will try to shut down those rookies when we come back. Cardinal baseball on FSN Midwest is brought to you by Budweiser Select. Brewed for a crisp taste that finishes clean. Be selective. By Auto Tire. For straight talk and great service, you ought to go to Auto Tire. By Steak and Shake. Real steak burgers and real milk milkshakes. Served 24 hours a day at Steak and Shake. And by Southwest Airlines. Friendly nonstop service all across the country. Southwest Airlines, a symbol of freedom. Rockies with the worst road record in the major leagues, only 6 road wins. They beat the Cardinals last night in game 1 of this 4-game set. Lineup brought to you by Southwest Airlines. It'll be Sullivan, Miles, and Helton here in the first. Then Wilson, Atkins, Hop, Rutherford, Ardway, and then Joe Kennedy, the pitcher. That's your Southwest Airlines starting lineup. Corey Sullivan hitting from the left side. Had a good game last night. Pair of hits, threw out a base runner at the plate. And he takes a ball low and in from Chris Carpenter. We're underway. It's 7-10. And it is a gorgeous night for baseball here in St. Louis. 1 ball and 1 strike. The numbers on Carpenter this year brought to you by Advance Auto Parts. The record of 11-4. And you saw the strikeouts in the bottom of that graphic. 112 this season. That's second best to Pedro Martinez of New York.
Been outstanding in the month of June. 4-1 ERA under 1.
What a pitch. Tailing back in for a call. Third strike. The defense behind Carpenter tonight brought to you by Auto Tire. Sanders, Taguchi, and Walker in the outfield. Roland, Eckstein, Gritzelanek, Pujols on the infield, and Yadier Molina is the catcher. The Auto Tire defense. How about the tailing action on this pitch?
Well, he's got 4 exceptional pitches, but this is the one that a lot of left-handers give up on, and then it breaks down to the corner.
With 1 out, Aaron Miles, the second baseman, shoots 1 foul for strike 1. It's 84 degrees here in St. Louis. Isn't that nice to say?
Yep, and with the exception of the Cardinals, Carpenter has never faced them, and now he's facing the Rockies for the first time. The only 2 teams he had never faced before.
0-1 pitch from Carpenter. Hit foul again. 0-2 the count. Aaron Miles is a switch hitter, batting .280 this season. 1 homer, 15 RBIs. Better hitter from this side of the plate, batting .285 as opposed to .259 from the right side. In the hole here, and watch out with this man on the mound. 0-2 pitch, pulled foul into the Cardinal dugout. Always fun to see the fans keeping score, and I always say, if you're keeping score at home, mark it down, whatever it might be. And I said, there's no one that keeps score anymore at home. You wouldn't believe how many letters I got and emails saying I do keep score at home. Swing and a miss. Strikeout number 2.
Chris Carpenter's last 3 games, 2 shutouts, and he took a shutout into the 9th inning, and racking up a lot of strikeouts. And right now he's already struck out the first 2 batters.
He feels that he has all 4 pitches working.
Well, that's it. And you know, part of it is just thinking you got them working.
The batter is Todd Helton. The Cardinals pitched him very tough last night, hitting .264. Down numbers for him. 6 home runs and 31 ribbies.
Todd has got a season-high 9-game hitting streak going right now.
He feels that confidence is the main thing for him, and that he didn't have it at the beginning of the season, but it's starting to come to him.
Well, one of the things, he's been issued 54 walks, 4th most in the National League, and 13 intentional. That's leaders in the major leagues. So not a lot of protection behind him. If you're not patient, you start expanding your strike zone, you get yourself out.
Mention those intentional passes. Helton with 13, Ichiro with 11, Albert Pujols with 10. 2-2, and he strike out the side to start this game.
And you don't go out there with that as a goal in mind, but after you struck out the first 2 and you got 2 strikes, why not?
9 strikes, 3 balls so far. That's pulled foul. Two and 2 on Todd Helton. Chicago has already lost today to Washington 4-3. A wild 8th inning at Wrigley Field. 2-2 pitch. Oh.
Ooh.
Whoa.
Carpenter halfway to the dugout. A little shake of the head from Dave Duncan. Where was that pitch?
That's a strike. The 3-2 pitch. Didn't get it. Now he walks him. Now, Chris Carpenter is very good friends with Matt Morris. Those two have really bonded over the last 2+ seasons here in St. Louis, ever since Carpenter got here. But Matt Morris would be the first to tell you, on game day, you get away from this guy. He is a bulldog. He's got a mean mentality. He doesn't want to be talked to. So they just leave him alone, and he gets in a zone.
And most pitchers, you try to give them their space. Then there's guys like Jeff Suppan who will talk to you.
Even Mark Mulder, Jason Marquis will do it. Was it like that when you were playing? I mean, did starters say, all right, I'm not talking to the media? Some guys, I'm not talking to my teammates.
Well, you start out with that courtesy.
Little tapper rolling. Bare hands. Throws. He got him. How good has he been defensively coming back off the disabled list? Another dandy from Scott Rowland, the Gold Glover. Barehanded play to get the speedy center fielder Preston Wilson. Bottom of the first coming up. They're keeping score over there. Let's take a look at that lineup that he has written down on his scorecard. This time for the Cardinals, the home team: David Eckstein, Mark Grudzielanek, Albert Pujols, then Sanders, Rowland, Walker, Taguchi, Molina, Carpenter. The Southwest Airlines starting lineup for St. Louis. Joe Kennedy, a left-hander that the Cardinals have faced this year, is on the mound. His numbers brought to you by Rico. And the first pitch, a strike at the knees to David Eckstein.
Had exactly 2 seconds to see that he's 1-6 with an ERA of 6.99 on the road, worst in the National League.
Eckstein hits it down the right field line. That could be trouble. A sliding catch in fair territory, though, by Brad Hopp. Nice play.
Very nice play as he was guarding that line and was in great defensive position to make that play.
A rookie, that's not easy because you're still trying to get your bearings with some of these ballparks. He was near that wall and slid to make the grab. The Auto Tire defense: Sullivan, Wilson, and Hopp in the outfield. Atkins, Relaford, Miles, Helton on the infield. Danny Ardway is behind the plate. Joe Kennedy on the mound.
Defensively was playing very near that line, so that stands comes very quickly. It still was a fair ball, but you have about one more stride. That's why he went down on one knee.
Second baseman Mark Grudzielanek, hitting .293. Hit down the right field line again. Hopp giving chase, and he makes the catch in fair territory. Another nice play. 2 down.
Yes, it was. I will not tell you who the Cardinal hitter was, but he gave me a sky report on this pitcher. As we take another look at the second out, one of the Cardinal hitters said that Joe Kennedy throws across his body. He doesn't have the stuff that Francis has. Doesn't have the command and control that Francis has. And it's really probably not the best idea to put these guys back to back.
But if you're facing the Cardinals and you're left-handed, you got a shot.
You got a shot. Been shut out 4 times this year, all 4 times by a left-hander.
Fastball misses in on Pujols. 1 ball, 1 strike. The southpaw shutouts. The Cardinals 4 times, as you mentioned, including last night, have been shut out by Tom Glavine, David Wells, Randy Johnson, and Jeff Francis last night. Pujols unloads down the left field line. 1-0 Cardinals. His 21st home run. A line shot off the bat of Albert Pujols.
And dropped that bat head and jumped out here. 17th home run the Cardinals have hit on this homestand. And a quick 1-0 lead. Come inside, but remember he throws across his body, so it's going to be hard for him to get in. He does not get in there, and Albert makes him pay.
Just a rocket off his bat for home run number 21, RBI number 65 for Albert Pujols. Here's Reggie Sanders. I mean, how many times throughout a season do we see a pitcher make a mistake over the middle of the plate against Albert Pujols and just get away with it? I mean, hardly ever.
Not too many times. You're right.
He just makes you pay. You almost have to be perfect with him. As Sanders hits it fouling out of play. Reggie Sanders off to a great start. 17 homers, 40 ribbies, a .281 average, and 13 stolen bases. Now, the oldest player to lead the major leagues in stolen base percentage, you have to go back to 1983. And Joe Morgan, at the age of 40, stole 18 of 20 bases. Paul Molitor was a perfect 20 of 20 back in 1994, but that was shortened. He was 37, would have turned 38 in the season, but of course it was wiped out after the work stoppage. Davey Lopes back in 1981 was 20 of 22 at the age of 36, and Reggie Sanders at the age of 37 has racked up 13 steals already.
14 attempts, so a great ratio.
More consistent this year.
Oh, absolutely. Has a goal in mind, and he's going to obtain it.
Grounds it to third, backing up Atkins. across the diamond to Todd Helton. The Cardinals retired, but they get on the board first. Here in game 2, it's Albert Pujols with his 21st home run, his 65th ribby. No doubter. 1-0 St. Louis as we head to the second. Albert Pujols with his second hit against Joe Kennedy in his career, and it's a home run to make it 1-0. Garrett Atkins will be the leadoff man for Colorado. One of the top rookies in Major League Baseball. Inning starts with the ball outside. Atkins hitting .320, 7 homers and 36 RBIs this season.
Hot streak he's on.
He got my vote for the rookie of the month, as that one caught Molina.
Got the same thing.
Dana DeMuth will wipe off that plate despite the fact that it's pearly white, no dirt on it, but they're going to give Molina some time to catch his breath.
He's set. Atkins is set with a career high 8 straight games, hitting .531 during that time.
2 balls and 1 strike. With that home run by Albert Pujols, he's now tied with Cliff Floyd for 4th best in the National League. With 21, he's now tied with Derek Lee in the RBI department at 65. That one caught Molina again, and it's 2-2. And Albert came in with a .339 average, which is 3rd best in the National League, behind Miguel Cabrera of Florida, and Derek Lee hitting .379 at the start of play today. 2 balls, 2 strikes. And a full count. Carpenter walked Todd Helton in the first, and that was the only base runners. He struck out 2 against the Rockies in that first half. Swing and a miss. 3rd strikeout tonight. You can buy some prize this summer and win a prize. It's the McDonald's St. Louis Cardinals Ticket Fest game. This summer you have the chance to win one of 3.3 million prizes by checking out your prize at participating McDonald's. Some of those prizes include seats from Busch Stadium, free Cardinal tickets, a first pitch, and millions more. Good luck. How many times do you see major league hitters fooled as badly as Atkins was on that last pitch? And that's when you know his stuff is sharp.
Well, sometimes you know you got a pitcher that throws a lot of strikes, doesn't walk many, and you're convinced he's going to throw you one. And it wasn't a strike, but you're committed to swinging at it. Where sometimes as a pitcher you can look at the stats and see if a guy does not walk hardly at all, you know, so you get behind the count and you don't have to throw him a pitch down the middle. You just have to make it close and he'll swing at it anyway.
3 balls and no strikes on Brad Hopp, the right fielder, who made 2 nifty plays in the Cardinals half of the first down the right field line. Very good defensive plays. In June, Chris Carpenter went 4-1. 2 of those games he went 9 innings. 2 others he went 8. The other one he went 6. Eckstein is there. 2 outs. And the best game we have seen pitched this season was at Toronto, a 7-0 win against his former team, and Chris Carpenter went 9 innings. He gave up 1 hit. That was in the 5th. And he struck out 10. Most he has struck out this season has been 12. That was in April. And he faced 1 over the minimum in that game.
He's had 3 double strikeout figure games tonight, and he came in his career with only 4.
2 of those this last month. Out to Sho Taguchi, a 1-2-3 inning for Carpenter. Coming up for the Cardinals, it'll be Rolen, Larry Walker, and Sho Taguchi. Redbirds on top. Bottom of the second coming up. It's 1-0. Hope you're having a good start to your holiday weekend. Cardinals lead it 1-0. Here's Scott Rolen against Joe Kennedy. Albert Pujols with a solo home run in the first. Scott Rolen batting .246, still looking for his first RBI since coming off the disabled list. He's got 5 homers and 20 RBIs this year. Seems to be getting more comfortable in the box, driving the ball a little bit better.
This may be a pitcher that he'll have a big night against.
1-1 pitch. Taps it foul, out of play, 1-2. Scotty with a base hit last night. Had 2 the night before. Well, we have seen some great defense from him and this Cardinals team the last 2 nights.
Already a nice play tonight. The double play started in foul territory.
It's one thing that Tony La Russa said about the game not going their way, 7-0 in favor of Colorado last night. He said, well, still you take some positives out of it. One was the way that we played defense, the double plays that were turned. Down his pull on Scott Rowland with Larry Walker on deck. The White Sox, Oakland, and now St. Louis for Tony La Russa. 10th season already, and it's a leadoff walk to Scott Rowland.
Talk about how Kennedy throws across his body. He throws from the third base side of the rubber to try to get in on right-handed batters, but it's real tough for him to make quality pitches in.
Amazing stat for the Cardinals with that leadoff walk. That's the first time in the past 16 innings they have gotten a leadoff man on. Really? How about that? You have to go back to a leadoff hit Wednesday against Cincinnati as Walker's hit by pitch. And that leadoff hit was by Reggie Sanders, a double in the 4th. So the Cardinals now get the first 2 on. Walker no stranger to that hit by pitch, closing in on nearly 200 in his career. You can log on to foxsports.com on MSN, and the keyword is Cardinals Booth. As we say goodbye to June, say hello to July, and you can email us here in the booth.
Walker, 3rd of active players.
Greg Biggio just set the modern day record the other day.
And not Freddie Kendall, but Jason Kendall, and then Larry Walker.
Ron Hunt was up there for a number of years, and then Don Baylor broke that record. Here's Sho Taguchi. Runners at first and second. One thing about Biggio, he's always leaning in, and he's got the armor on his elbow. I mean, Larry Walker's a guy that you don't see wearing that armor.
Well, Eckstein, a little guy that has been hit quite a few times, doesn't wear any protection.
Vigna was great at it when he was here. Cardinals trying to add to their 1-0 lead. That's a fair ball. Rowland being waved home. Now they're going to hold him up, and back to second. If he can get there is Walker, and scoring is Scott Rowland. What an odd play, but it's the second run tonight for the Cardinals. Pretty good piece of hitting by Sho Taguchi to pick up the RBI, his 20th this season, and some confusion out there by the rookie hopping right.
Well, remember we talk about how he's going to pitch away from hitters, and what a controlled swing, guiding the ball this way. Scott is a very good runner. Once he saw that it was going to go through, he's thinking about coming home. Then he's held up. Scott Rowland picked up where the flight of the ball was, and when he saw the throw went into second base is when he decided to come home. Really heads up base running.
Runners at first and second. Here's Yadier Molina. Now, correct me if I'm wrong on this, but Yadier Molina has a chance now to make this a bigger Cardinal lead. But if you take a look at where the right fielder is on that play, the cut has got to go to Todd Helton, who should be in position at first base, correct?
You would think so, and at a low trajectory, because if that ball would have gotten by from Relaford, it could have really been troublesome. That's some of the things that, when you're playing so many rookies. Scott Rowland, very alert. He hesitated at first, but he had to, because he couldn't tell if that ball was going to be a line drive catch by Helton, the first baseman.
And Hop is thinking, well, Scott Rowland's going all the way. He's not going to be hesitating at second base, so he's going to score easily on that. I'm going to third. Not realizing that Rowland had hesitated because of the line drive.
Sure.
Then it would make sense as to why he went to the cut Desi Relaford instead of going to the plate and Todd Helton. Either way, it's 2-0 Cardinals. Molina sitting on 5 home runs. It's a bullet into left field. Walker had to hesitate. to make sure that wasn't caught, and the bases are loaded. Nobody out for Chris Carpenter.
It's one of those situations where you talk about this pitcher, another left-hander following another left-hander. He doesn't throw as hard, doesn't have the command, doesn't have the stuff of Jeff Francis, and this could be a very good offensive night for the Cardinals. Bob Apodaca out to talk to his lefty.
Boy, a lot of pitches up and over the middle of the plate.
You know, you got to scout all kinds of different places.
Just got to see what's out there. Sure that he's evaluating this conversation with that pitching coach on the mound and trying to figure out exactly what's being said.
Yeah, man. You know, the Jolly Green Giant with that altitude. The
way that he was looking through the binoculars.
Yeah. Looking to the upper deck.
So I guess he wasn't following the conversation. 2-0 Cardinals. A chance for Carpenter to help himself here. Fastball and a strike. Inning started with a walk to Scott Rowland. Larry Walker was hit by a pitch. Base hit and RBI for So Taguchi. And a base hit by Molina to load him up for Carpenter. Nothing in 2 the count.
Carpenter 2 for 35 with just 1 RBI, but said a nice chance to help himself here.
Look at those outfielders, how shallow they are playing.
Oh man, and the gap out in left center. Not thinking he'd get around, but he's going to throw the ball most of the time on the right or to the first base side of home plate, but still.
That's lined into the seats. Everybody's all right. We were wondering if that RBI would be taken away from So Taguchi. It is not. The official score has given him an RBI, number 20 this season for So.
To me, it's one continuous play, so you give him an RBI.
Pitch misses outside. 1-2 on Chris Carpenter. Batting .057 this year, no homers and 1 RBI. The bases are loaded. Walker at third. Taguchi at second. Molina at first. The 1-2 pitch. A ground ball foul. Ooh. Similar to what Taguchi did. Just stick the bat out, go with the pitch.
That's what I'm saying. You know, a left-hander that throws across his body has a hard time getting in on a right-handed batter. So you'll leave a lot of the middle half in, but predominantly a lot of pitches will be away. Try and go up the middle to the opposite field.
Another 1-2. Outside, 2-2.
Puts an awful lot of strain on your arm. We used to talk so much about that when Ankiel was pitching. And pitching across your body.
2-2 pitch. Carpenter fouls it back. Pretty good cut. You wonder if Carpenter's starting to dial him in a little bit. More pitches he sees.
The more pitches you see, the more you're not fooled by the velocity. And as long as it's a fastball, guys will catch up to it.
2-2 pitch. Slow roller, hit to third. They can come home for a force out there. Carpenter is safe at first.
It was odd because the catcher was nowhere near the plate. He tagged, you know, Walker instead of trying to be like a first baseman, get out at first and then throw to first. And let's watch this play here and see if he tagged him, because he was a foot in front of the home plate.
And of course, all he has to do is be stepping on the plate.
Well, he's standing there, but watch, he comes off of it, and then he doesn't tag him.
Walker should have been safe.
Larry never touched home plate either, but
now it's David Eckstein. A spot that he has thrived in this year. Of course, you think about a possible squeeze and a contact man with David Eckstein, but he doesn't strike out very often. And with runners in scoring position, he's hitting .340 as the ball gets away. Taguchi will score, and the runners move up. Carpenter to second, Molina to third. 3-0 Redbirds.
easy, and that slide to his right for the catcher and not smothering that ball. It was in the dirt. It'll be scored a wild pitch, but easily blocked.
Eckstein hits it sharply to the shortstop, who is playing in. That's Rutherford. Hard hit, but right at Desi for out number 2. In steps Grzelcyk. Larry Walker walking down the steps with one of the Cardinal trainers. Tony La Russa's talked about the fact if you have Walker in this lineup, just like when Scott Rowland was out and back in, it just has a different feel and a different look. They'd love to see him out there having a chance to play every day. And it's not to take anything away from Sho Taguchi or John Mabry, but they love to see Walker out there.
Sure. This is knowledge and adjustment.
All kinds of room into left center field for a guy that has been known in his career to knock around a lot of doubles.
He's a gap hitter. Primarily, you like to think that he's going to go to the opposite field, but look at all the room out there. A base hit there with 2 outs, scores 2, even with Carpenter run.
Wide strike.
And you got a Grzelcyk who is excellent at going to the opposite field, so you think about him trying to shoot one out to the Cardinal bullpen.
2 balls, 1 strike. Runners at second and third. Cardinals lead it 3-0. Redbirds picked up a solo home run back in the first by Pujols, and 2 more runs here in the second. Two and 2 the count on the Cardinals second baseman Mark Grzelcyk with Pujols on deck. Kennedy would love to just finish him off right here and not deal with the man on deck. He's on deck.
You're always aware of where he's at, and you say, I got to make sure I get this batter in the batter's box, but sometimes it's not that easy.
Gonna get some to hit here on 3 and 2. Pulls it sharply, bobbled by the third baseman. Over to Todd Helton. The Cardinals strand 2, but pick up 2 more, and they add to their lead. After 2, here from Busch, 3-0 St. Louis. July 1st, 1920, our This Date in Baseball History, brought to you by Schnucks. The Cardinals make their debut as the home team at Sportsman's Park, also the home of the American League St. Louis Browns. You and I had a chance to MC an event where some of the Brownies came on out this year to the Knights of the Cauliflower Ear.
Sure. Remember the name of the park that preceded Sportsman's Park?
I do, but it slips my mind.
How about if I gave you a hint?
Just go ahead and give it.
It's the number 42. Robinson.
Oh,
Robinson
yeah.
Field. I'll help you, kid.
I appreciate that. The Browns moved to Baltimore. They sold the park to a guy named August Busch. He promptly renamed it Busch Stadium. That large Anheuser-Busch logo was mounted atop the left field scoreboard. A strikeout of the catcher, Hardway.
Good old Uncle Charlie up there just freezes a hitter. I'm sure some of these hitters, they may not like the at bat, but they're going to have fun watching these pitches.
Hit near the Cardinals dugout, and Al McRae, everybody's all right down there as you see the sun shining through the arches here at Busch, reflecting across the building. Downtown's going to be a busy place this weekend. Fair St. Louis. Another line shot into the seats. That's a dangerous spot the last couple of nights. In our gun, that pitch was at 95 miles an hour.
Well, Carpenter's one of those guys that it really is interesting to see the high and lows in his velocity. See how difficult it is to face and pitch, hit against him. Give you an idea. The variance. 19 miles an hour difference.
Again at 95 miles an hour, just missing outside. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Sometimes a team will fall victim to a guy like Carpenter who works very fast. They just jump in the batter's box and they're doing him a favor.
Goodbye.
For Charlie.
5 in the first 2+ innings. 5 strikeouts for Carpenter. Tomorrow the Rockies still here, and at 6:15 all fans 21 and over receive a powder blue t-shirt commemorating the Cardinals' 1982 World Championship victory. For tickets or more information, call the Cardinals at 421-2400. Bing Devine with Walt Jocketty up there and John Mozeliak, the assistant GM.
Bing still works for the club, but he was the general manager when I signed with the Cardinals, and he's in his 80s now and just a classic gentleman.
Boy, did he pull off some great trades.
Well, I had the distinction at one time as the president of the football Cardinals and executive and president of the baseball Cardinals. But the Lou Brock trade being one, but people forget he kind of
grounded to second.
He built the team before he went to the Mets. That was the 67-68 team, and then he built the 69 Mets. Didn't get credit.
5 strikeouts for Carpenter tonight. Sullivan, Miles, Atkins, Hardway, Kennedy, they all have gone down first time through. Cardinal baseball on FSN Midwest is brought to you by Advance Auto Parts. We're ready in advance. By Aflac, ask about it at work. And by Rico, how well do you print, copy, scan, fax? How well do you share? Albert is homered already tonight. Cardinals with a lead of 3-0. Hit sharply to third, taken there by Atkins. 1 pitch, 1 out. Hard hit, but right at the third baseman. We're talking about that trade of Lou Brock. He was originally signed by a living legend, Buck O'Neill. First black coach ever hired by a major league team. He was signed by the Cubs in 1962 as a coach, and Buck O'Neill still calls Kansas City home. Played a number of years with the Kansas City Monarchs, and he's the man that started and still helps run the Negro Leagues Baseball Museum.
He's in his 90s now.
93 years old.
He's got more energy than all of us.
Pitch is popped up. Helton, foul territory, called off by the second baseman. Miles makes the catch for out number 2. The Best Damn Sports Show period is the greatest nightly sports show on television, with host Chris Rose and co-host John Sally, Rob Dibble, and Rodney Peete. It's the Best Damn Sports Show period tonight after the postgame show, only on FSN Midwest.
Bing Devine kind of built the team, and that eventually won in 67, 68. And during that time he went to the Mets, and then in 69 he came back, so he was the architect of the 69 team that won Surprise the World and winning the World Championship.
That's a base hit up the middle for Scott Rowland, a 2-out hit. On base for the second time. He has walked and scored, and now a 2-out single here in the third.
Scott's going to have a good night against this pitcher.
Good compact swing on that last pitch by Rowland.
Well, take it up the middle into the opposite field. Primarily it's going to be out away from you. You got the extension. Didn't try to do too much. Simplify your swing when you've been out like 33 days.
Here's Larry Walker, homer twice last game that he started against Cincinnati. Off day yesterday. First pitch is outside. I asked Buck, I said, did the players ever come over to your place and just say thank you for what you've done, being a pioneer in the game, helping break down the color barrier? He said you'd be shocked at how many of those players, when they come through Kansas City to take on the Royals, make sure that they hop in a car, come on over to the museum, see it, experience it, learn about it, and shake his hand to say thanks. That's good to hear, isn't it?
It's good to hear.
Taken by Todd Helton. He'll race back to the bag and retires his buddy from Colorado, Larry Walker. The Cardinals strand a man. They have left 3 on tonight. 3-0 St. Louis. You can relive great baseball stories at the Whitey Herzog Celebrity Roast on Monday, July 18th. It benefits Children's Miracle Network and the Whitey Herzog Foundation. If you'd like to order tickets, 421-4400. You can always visit foxsports.com, keyword Midwest, for more information. The Whitey Herzog Celebrity Roast is sponsored by Budweiser. 2 balls and no strikes on Miles. It'll be the numbers 2, 3, and 4 in the order for Colorado. Cardinals up by a score of 3-0.
And here's a guy that has only walked twice this season. So now that he's fallen behind 3-0, you know, he's just itching to swing the bat.
3-1 with Todd Helton on deck.
Like I said, he's itching to swing the bat, but that's the kind of guy that, you know, you don't have to, you know, if you fall behind, you don't have to feel like you've lost him.
We have talked about the man on deck being such a fabulous athlete in college. Talking about Todd Helton, 2-sport athlete at the Division I level. Very tough to do at one of the premier colleges in the country, and that's Tennessee, and that's a base hit, the first of the night for Colorado. And not only was he a baseball player and a first baseman, but the guy was a pitcher. He threw about 88, 89 miles an hour, they said, but Todd Helton was a pitcher, and with that arm, he put on the armor and go to the gridiron and play football. And he and Peyton Manning are 2 very good friends, best of friends. Peyton Manning actually will take some batting practice occasionally during the summer months, his time off with the Rockies. But Todd was the backup to Peyton. It's one of the best quarterbacks in the National Football League. So he had nearly 500 yards passing, 4 TDs, and a .370 batting average. He went 19-5 as a pitcher. Look at the ERA, 2.24, and 23 saves. I think he made the right choice.
He made the right choice. So did Peyton. Just take batting practice. Do his other thing.
Best season ever by a quarterback statistically by Peyton Manning this last year.
You know, our buddy Tom Pagnozzi was an assistant in the college ranks, and finally he kind of gave it up for reasons, philosophical reasons.
On the track, catches made by Reggie Sanders, and Tom Pagnozzi was an assistant at Arkansas with the Razorbacks.
Yeah, but he kind of gave it up because he realized a lot of these college coaches, they only are concerned about their players while they have eligibility at the school. And really, Tom was more concerned about some of the pitchers not injuring themselves or getting hurt, and just really felt that sometimes they didn't really take the health of a pitcher or the longevity of a pitcher into consideration.
Here's Preston Wilson. Loops it into right center field. That's going to drop for a hit. Charging, it's Larry Walker. He'll go to third. It's cut off though by Eckstein.
Oh, David didn't realize that the ball was a little bit offline, but Larry Walker's playing deep, came in on the run, and he's a 7-time Gold Glove winner, and his arm is strong and still accurate. But that was a little offline, so it was worth cutting off.
So runners at first and third, and really the first scoring opportunity for Colorado tonight, with 1 out here in the 4th.
So he just kind of blooped it in there. He kind of jammed him here, and so Larry will come in as the Miles going to go from first to third, and you see no hesitation. And Rowland, you could tell, was offline as Rowland went up the third base line in case it got by Eckstein. So a good decision to cut it off and see if you could get the runner trying to go from first to second.
Now you've got their most dangerous hitter, at least recently, and that is Garrett Atkins, who struck out back in the second, 0 for 1, trying to extend a hit streak. He's batting .318 overall. Good pitch by Carpenter for strike one.
Now, Carpenter is a great competitor. He may have a hot hitter up there, but this guy is on a mission, and that's to keep the Rockies from scoring. So we'll see how he pitches him and how tough he'll be. And fastball in on it.
Atkins trying to make it 9 straight games. Fastball and a strike.
And we talked about last night, when your guy hits from that open stance, and he starts from an open stance and then he'll stride towards the plate as the pitcher's delivering. You got to move. You got somebody moving towards the plate. You move in, and you can jam him. And he gives up on that pitch inside. You got strike 2. Now you will back away.
0-2 pitch. Hit his spot, but just a bit outside.
See, that's just a pitcher perfect pitch. It's either going to be called a strike, or it's just off the plate where he can't get hurt with it. And that ball came back, and he's lucky. Atkins is lucky he's still at the plate.
Now will they go back inside, or do they stay away?
The curveball.
Sets up outside, missed his spot, but still
backed up on it.
Yep, he catches Atkins looking. Strikeout number 6. That's a big one. 2 down now. This is our Hardy's hot pitch of the game. Watch where Molina sets up. Like we said, Al, he set up on the outside portion of the plate, but yet it backed up on him and catches the inside portion.
There's no way to guard against a backup breaking ball. You know, as a hitter, you're looking for that 12-6 pitch, and when a backup, instead of going down and away or straight down, that ball kind of comes in at you, and it became a very effective pitch, but not one you want to throw consistently. There was a breaking ball there that got away from him, kind of cast it out, and where he's not getting on top of it and pulling it down.
1 ball, no strike on Brad Hopp, who is grounded out to short. 1-1. St. Louis has out hit Colorado 4-2, lead it 3-0. Runners at first and third. Miles and Preston Wilson. 1-1 pitch. 2-1. Our home plate umpire tonight is Dana DeMuth. Marty Foster at first. Jim Joyce at second. Laz Diaz is at third. The 2-1 pitch. See Molina guide to Carpenter, saying, and he's pointing to his left shoulder, saying keep it in. Flying open a little bit.
Flying open, and that gets the ball up and away in this situation to a left-handed batter.
I'm going to ask you a question. As Hop goes down and it's 3-2, we just saw right before that pitch, Yadier Molina peeks into the dugout. Now, is he always taking signs from Dave Duncan and Tony La Russa, or is it up to him and the pitcher to be on the same page?
It's to my knowledge that Dave does not call that many pitches.
I thought on occasion he would.
On occasion he will, but you know, sometimes you'll look in there, sometimes they look in for, you know, a running situation. Most of the time he's looking in to see if Tony has a set play on.
It's ball 4. The second walk handed out by Carpenter. Bases loaded. You can see it right there, right before the pitch, that Molina was looking into that Cardinal dugout. Miles at third, Wilson at second, and Brad Hopp, the runner, at first. Bases are loaded for Colorado. Cardinals had the bases loaded in the second inning in which they picked up 2 runs. Desi is looking for his first hit in this series. He's 0 for 5. Fly to center. His first time up. 0 for 1 tonight.
Came into this series with the highest batting average against any opponent, the Cardinals, in his career. You know, but Carpenter out there in the mound, he's only 1 for 7 against him.
0-1 pitch. A broken bat popped up. This should do it. Pujols backing up, and he makes the play. Rockies strand the bases loaded. Bottom of the fourth coming up. Bottom of the order for St. Louis. Taguchi, Molina, and Carpenter. Bottom of the fourth here in St. Louis. The Cardinals with a 3-run lead. Our Aflac trivia question: which former Cardinal is a direct descendant of explorer William Clark of Lewis and Clark? I was told our question was going to be name a duck, but that's a little tougher than what I was expecting tonight. We had name a Met. We've had name a mountain region in Colorado.
Close. I think this answers Taguchi.
1 ball, 1 strike on So Taguchi. You are really going out on a limb.
And I would almost bet I am wrong.
Again, I'm not going down that road with you because I'm not betting anything with you ever again.
That's
but
right.
I'd say I'm 99.9% for sure you're wrong.
It was worth saying it, though.
Here's Yadier Molina. A single in the second. And how about his average above 260? It's at 263.
He had 299 in May and June combined.
And he has been such a weapon behind the plate. You mentioned the name of Tom Pagnazzi, and I think it's easy for us to forget how good Tom was defensively for the Cardinals for a number of years.
A couple Gold Gloves. And
right.
Contribute offensively on occasion.
0-2 pitch to Molina is in the dirt. And Pagnazzi's a guy that you mentioned with 2 Gold Gloves, but we kind of lump in Matheny and Molina as very, very above average, way above average catchers. But Pagnazzi, I was looking at some numbers the other day as this is grounded to second, taken there by Aaron Miles. I mean, Tom Pagnazzi threw out nearly 50% of would-be base stealers twice in his career, back in '94 and '91. Yadier Molina is on pace to throw out 55% of base stealers this year. He's thrown out 12 of 23.
And remember when Pags was doing it, when the stolen base was more of a prevalent weapon.
Right.
Now, as you was showing, these catchers look to the managers, put on different plays with guys on base to stop the running game, more emphasis.
Carpenter lifts this one into right field, and this should do it for the Cardinals. Their half of the fourth. We move to the fifth. Hardway, Kennedy, and Sullivan coming up for the Rockies. They trail by 3 runs. Back to the Aflac trivia question we go. As we start play here in the fifth, Cardinals up 3-0. Which former Cardinal is a direct descendant of William Clark? Will Clark. That's your Aflac trivia question, Al. Any thoughts? Any comments? Anything you'd like to add to it?
Well, I knew it was either Will Clark or Taguchi.
I was leaning towards Taguchi for a while, but then I had to go back to good old Bill.
Wow, Bill.
You got it. Cardinals leading 3-0, and the batter is Danny Ardway. First pitch is a strike. Ardway, Kennedy, and Sullivan for the Rockies here in the top of the fifth. Cardinals have a home run from Pujols and 2 more runs in the second.
Home run Ardway hit last night was only the second of his career and the first since August 10th, 2000 at Tampa Bay. Sturts. And that home run was Danny's first major league hit.
1-1 pitch. Another beauty by Carpenter. He has struck out 6 tonight. Chris Carpenter coming off a very good outing his last time out. 8 innings and a win against Pittsburgh. Pitch in the dirt. And the count runs at 2 balls and 2 strikes. That month of June, a record of 4-1 and a .90 ERA. That's how good he was. 2-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. He got him. Strikeout number 7 for the Cardinal right-hander. We're going to give you another Hardy's hot pitch of the game, and it's Carpenter striking out Danny Ardway.
Cutter right there. Like a little bit of a slider, just a small little break, but just enough. 7th strikeout.
Grounder, Grizzolonic to his left. Twirls, throws. Another good play by this Cardinal defense tonight.
Pitcher hitting, so Grizzolonic still had to range far to his left, but he also knew he could take his time, set himself, and throw the pitcher out.
Grizzolonic is he's only made 4 errors this season now.
Oh, he's been outstanding, and you know, the more you see him, the more you really appreciate his all-around play.
Back to the top of the order, so this will be the 3rd time through for Carpenter against the Rockies in their lineup. And it's Sullivan trying to bunt his way on, and bunts it foul. He struck out tonight looking. He's also grounded out to second. Folks behind us in our Fox Sports Net suite from the Special Education Foundation. Very generous with their time and money towards a wonderful foundation here in St. Louis that Fox donated by Fox Sports Net, obviously, and Kenny Allgaier, our thanks to him, have raised thousands
last year.
Yeah, thousands of dollars last year, so our thanks to those great folks. Our golf tournament coming up in October. David Nyers in the gang behind us. The 0-2 pitch. 1-2. Carpenter looking for strikeout number 8.
You know, as good as he is throwing, he's a little off tonight. But yeah, that just tells you how good he is.
Look at that pitch. Bottom dropped out of it. 2 strikeouts in the inning. 8 tonight. Hustling in is David Eckstein. He'll lead it off in the Cardinals' half of the 5th. Eckstein, Mark Grizzolonic, and Albert Pujols for the Cardinals here in their half of the 5th. They about hit the Rockies 4-2, lead it 3-0. Eckstein is flying to right and grounded out to short. Showing bunt and takes a strike. Grounded to short very sharply last time with runners at 2nd and 3rd and only 1 out. Couldn't get him home. That's a base hit for David into right center field. What's on Tap is brought to you by Budweiser. And tomorrow night we'll be on FSN Midwest. It'll be Jason Marquis with a record of 8-5 against a former Cardinal, Jamie Wright. We'll come your way with Cardinals tonight at 5:30. It's an early start now tomorrow. 6:15 our first pitch. 5:30 with Cardinals tonight. Marquis and Jamie Wright. And Wright has a record of 4-8 and an ERA that's near 6. Grizzolonic 0 for 2. Into center field. Should be taken there by Preston Wilson. And that's the first out, and it brings in Albert Pujols. Kind of interesting as you look at your scorecard for those of you keeping score at home. First time through against Kennedy, the Cardinals went 3 for 7 with a home run, 3 runs scored. Second time through, just 1 for 9. What will they do here the 3rd time through? Pujols has that home run for the Cardinals. His first time up back in the 1st. He's also grounded to 3rd on a hard hit ball.
I wasn't too sure that first pitch for Grizzolonic wasn't a hit and run, but a move that Eckstein thought was coming to first base went to the plate and had Eckstein going back. As it turned out, it was a good thing because of the pop up to center.
Kennedy threw 42 pitches in his first 2 innings, and the last 2 he only threw 17. So he's gotten into a little bit of a groove as you see the center fielder Wilson playing very deep and again shading to the opposite field. 1-0 pitch in the dirt to Albert. Some season numbers on Joe Kennedy. See the 3rd time through, that would indicate some problems coming up for him. Opponent's hitting .361.
Well, the more they see him, the more they're comfortable, so it's very uncharacteristic that they were 1 for 9 the 2nd time through. But if he lasts long enough.
Check on David at first. Count of 2 balls and no strikes on Albert. Not a great move for a left-handed pitcher.
And if you are a base stealer and you have a lefty out there that shows you have a bad move, they've become very easy to steal against.
The 2-0 pitch. Curveball outside with Sanders on deck, 3-0, and you know that Albert's got the green light.
He's spending so much time worrying about David Eckstein at first base. He accentuates even more if thrown across his body. So it's harder for him to throw strikes, and this is the wrong guy to split your concentration.
3-0 pitch. Pujols pops it up. Flings his bat in disgust. The second baseman will take it. That's Miles for out number 2. Eckstein back to first, 2 down, and Reggie Sanders will be the hitter. Cardinal fans, you can join former pitcher Andy Bennis and Fred Bird for Cardinals Crew Saturday at 5. This edition features a 4th of July tribute, and Fred Bird and Andy hanging out in the Cardinals clubhouse. Tune in for another exciting edition of Cardinals Crew tomorrow at 5 on FSN Midwest. 2 down. Here's Reggie. He's grounded out to third, and he's popped out to the second baseman. 0 for 2 tonight. Another check on David Eckstein. He's very preoccupied with him.
Yeah. Albert was upset because he knew he got a pitch that he should have been able to handle and kind of jammed himself.
Sure did. Looked like a pitch that he normally crushes. We talked about that earlier. If he gets those pitches to hit, he doesn't make many mistakes.
David had a little bit of took a step, and all of a sudden Kennedy tried to rush his throw, so he kind of forced it to try to do a slide step because he thought the Eckstein was running on the pitch.
And time called by Sanders. Now that's something that we don't see a lot of teams do against Chris Carpenter, whether it be take their time by stepping out, or maybe as he just begins his windup, calling time and getting it granted.
Well, because Kennedy is so worried about Eckstein over there, that time he decided to hold it longer. Just trying to mess with Eckstein. Worry on the hitter with 2 outs.
And the ball gets away. He throws a wild pitch. So all that time that he paid to Eckstein, he throws a wild pitch. He winds up at second anyway.
He's trying to rush his throws and try to accentuate getting inside. So, I mean, with two. As he throws so far across his body, this last one, he kind of really short-armed and just threw it right in the dirt. And once again, the catcher, really not very good at his weight chip and blocking balls in the dirt.
2-0 pitch to Reggie. Hit down the right field line. Coming on is Hop, and he came up with it. What a play. Reaches over into the stands and takes it away from a fan for the third and final out. That's a third great play we've seen by Brad Hop in right field tonight. 6th inning coming up. Let's take another look at Brad Hop in right field for Colorado tonight. He's already made 2 very good plays. How about number 3?
I think he left passes over in this corner, so he's going over to visit, but very nice play as he takes it right out of the hands of a fan.
At least he didn't Gary Sheffield it.
That's right.
Made the catch and moved on.
And once again, I mean, I'll never fault a fan for trying to do something which is natural, and of course, if baseball architects don't want that to happen, we'll build the wall.
Kenny Rogers, by the way, after his tirade, gets 20 games. That's his suspension from Major League Baseball. So then you keep the shades on, even though.
Hey, Owen.
Even though it's not, the sunshine isn't pounding through anymore, but you keep the shades on, you keep the cool look going, and you get on your cellular phone. Now if that person's on the other line, go ahead and tell them, Owen, you're on TV. Go ahead and tell them.
Dude, I almost had it.
It was unbelievable, man.
He took it right away from me, man.
It's Owen from Fast Times at Richmond High.
What do we do without cell phones?
It was tough, wasn't it? Does he realize that he's on TV yet, though? I know our guys in the truck have a camera on him. He's got his Budweiser, he's got his shades, and he's got his cell phone. Life is good, Al.
You're the man, Owen.
Comes a 3-2 pitch. Spoiled. It's always our favorite to see a fan behind home plate on a cell phone and giving you a wave. Is there anything more annoying in sports than that? Little chopper past. No, it's not past him. From the seat of his pants.
Oh, I think he would have been out too.
I do too.
Albert just tried to stab at it and knocked it, but what a great effort. You talk about being a competitor, and this, what better example of Chris Carpenter right here. Look at his momentum, carries him towards first, dives back for the ball from the seat of his pants, had something on that throw, and Albert tried to snap at it and missed it. So, I mean, this is a great athletic play and almost a terrific one, but falls a little bit short.
Would have been awfully close.
Yeah, I think we probably would have beat it out, but you've got to applaud that effort.
Second hit tonight for Aaron Miles as we start play here in the top of the 6th. And now it's Todd Helton. He has walked. He's flied to deep left field. Reggie Sanders on the track.
You know, we haven't done today, which we did so well yesterday.
A double play.
You like to see one?
This would be the time, wouldn't it?
Rolling well off the third base bag, off the line. Middle infielders, a double play depth.
Oh. Up and in to Todd Helton. That'll get your attention.
Yeah. And bat swung all the way around, too. Watch this one. Right there, and he spun the correct way. You spin backwards, but
that'll keep you off the plate. Another high delivery, and Helton chased after it. It's 1-2. That was a ball.
Trying to get the pop up there.
Talk about this defense. That all-star game night, you very well could have Pujols, Eckstein, Rolen, and the man on the mound starting in the ball game, and Jimmy Edmonds in center field.
Cardinals will be well represented, and rightfully so.
1-2 pitch. Golfs it into right field. Walker coming on, and they know about his throwing arm and how accurate it can be. So Miles stops at second base. Let's go pitch by pitch. This feature is brought to you by your Mid-America Chevrolet dealers.
Head rather than pitch out of there. There's the one up and in. Then he went up, gets a strikeout. Breaking ball right there, just left it down and in. I mean, it's outstanding breaking ball, but a little better piece of hitting. Down and in off the plate. Home plate umpire wants to see the ball as Carpenter was tying a shoelace.
So he's run into a little bit of trouble here in the 6th inning. First and second, nobody out.
That's what I'm saying. You know, as great as he's pitched, and only 4 hits allowed, 8 strikeouts, he's a little bit off. And yet he's just as outstanding competitor. He can dominate a team when he doesn't have his best stuff.
When you say he's not as sharp, what do you see?
I've seen more of his breaking balls, you know, like not 12-6 where they backed up. He's kind of cast some of them out there. I think at times he's he's been a little iffy with some of his locations, but you know, he is pitching a dominant game.
Eckstein has a play in front of him to third. 6-5 on the play, and now it's a first and second, 1 out. That was really the only play that Eckstein had, and he had it right in front of him.
It actually was, as you said, the easiest play for him. They had to run with runners at first and second, but as he's going in towards the left field corner, play is in front of him. And Scott Rowland, you know, you have to be aware the situation was right there at the bag to get the force out. Wilson with his knee problem still runs well enough that that was the only play, so don't complicate things by making an errant throw.
First and second, 1 out. Garrett Atkins is the hitter. 0 for 2 tonight. Takes ball 1. Chicago is the lone final from today. They lose to Washington 4-3. And in that game in the 8th, Jeremy Burnitz and the crowd at Wrigley thought he hit a 2-run homer. Washington disputed it. That would have tied it up at 4-4. There's your double play possibly. That's one. Yes, sir. Double play.
Ding.
You know, when you're a base runner here, when they have a potential double play, you got to go out after that guy. So you saw Walker force them not to. But the Rockies know how to play this. They go after Rowland right there, so he couldn't make a return throw. And then here you see the double play. Sometimes you want to get that middle infielder, but other times you just can't get there anywhere close enough to get to him, and sometimes you don't want to eat the baseball, so you slide.
Scott Rowland has been on base twice tonight. We're talking about the Cubs game in which they lost to Washington. They thought they hit a 2-run homer from Burnitz. That would have tied it up at 4-4. Place was going wild. And then all of a sudden, Washington contested the home run. It was a foul ball. So Burnitz goes back and hits a double, makes it 4-3. He winds up on a very good base running play and a sac fly to center. He chances it, goes to third base. So now he's at third with just 1 out and promptly gets picked off.
Oh.
The rally was done. Scott Rowland into right center field, but that'll carry out to Preston Wilson. And it's out number 1, and it brings in Larry Walker. It was perfect Chicago Cubs baseball, just the way you like it. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the St. Louis Cardinals, LLC, and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of the game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the St. Louis Cardinals, LLC. First pitch to Larry Walker is a ball outside and low. Larry has been hit by a pitch that was back in the second inning. He's also grounded out up the middle, and that's a base hit. A bullet right back at Joe Kennedy. Watch out.
Charge those line drives, but you follow through, you end up about 55 feet away, and then you get a bullet right at your ankles. And sometimes it's better just to get your body out of the way of it. That might have stung.
So Taguchi getting the signs from third base coach Jose Oquendo. Nomar Garciaparra, the Chicago Cubs, expects to be back for the final 2 months of the regular season. Progressing with that groin injury.
They got Pryor, they got Wood, and as you say, get Garciaparra back. You think they'll be in the hunt for the wild card?
You figured they'd be right in the thick of things, just like they were last year. They coughed it up at the end of last season. They were in the driver's seat. They should have gotten in.
And to be honest with you, they'll have enough chances against the Cardinals to make a difference too.
If the Cardinals win tonight, they go back to 21 games above 500 and 9.5 games in front of the Chicago Cubs.
Well, we probably have close to 14 games left for them.
There's a bunch. Check on Larry Walker. We saw that Kennedy was doing this time and again with David Eckstein at first earlier tonight.
Taguchi very good at hitting the ball to the opposite field, so a lot of hitting room there holding on the runner at first.
2 balls and a strike. Taguchi has an RBI base hit. That was back in the second.
And he dropped down, but he goes so much across his body, he always looks somewhat like he's going to the Cardinal dugout instead of going to the home.
3-1 on So Taguchi with Yadier Molina on deck.
Good guys on first base, and he spends a lot of his concentration checking out that guy at first at the expense of the hitter.
3-1 pitch outside, and it's first and second, and a chance here for Molina. Tickets went on sale today for the second annual Cardinals campout, the last campout in Busch Stadium history. So if you've ever thought about going on the field, this is your time to do it. Just remember, you can't barbecue. All right, you can't go out there, Alan, barbecue.
Nope,
I know you want to.
No campfires, no barbecues, but
can't stake your tent into the ground. We don't want holes out there.
No, I can't believe that it didn't sell out overnight.
It's $250 a person. Children 4 and under are free. So one of your final times to head onto the field at Busch Stadium. Molina pulls it just foul for strike 1. Some activity now in that Rockies bullpen. They're starting to get loose and get ready. Left-hander Bobby C.
He was one of those big bonus babies.
Molina bloops it into shallow right field. May drop, and it will. Everybody safe. Runners had to wait to make sure that would not be caught by Brad Hopp, who's made some good catches tonight. And now we've got the bases loaded for Chris Carpenter.
Second hit from Molina, and very good base running by Taguchi. Walker going to third. Yeah, he could wait, but the real tough play, because it's a real short distance, where Hopp coming in on the ball and a short throw to second base. So the tough base running play was for Taguchi, and he was excellent. Look at very poor ratio. 37 balls and 48 strikes.
Second time tonight that Chris Carpenter has had the bases loaded and just one out. He's 0 for 2. Wants to get his signs from Jose Oquendo. David Eckstein on deck. A chance for Carpenter once again to help himself.
Outfield very, very shallow again. And you can plug the gaps.
Pretty good cut there by Carpenter. 1 ball, 1 strike as Walker was charging down the line. Maybe just putting it, that element in the back of that pitcher's mind that you know, hey, we could squeeze, we could do some things here.
Well, especially when you have a left-hander out there, your peripheral vision, you'll pick up that runner a little bit, and you can't tell if he just started to bluff or not. And so many times you rush your throw and throw a ball away.
1-1 pitch is hit down the right field line. Hopp is there. He'll make the catch. Runners will tag from second to third. Walker can just walk on home. And it's 4-0 Cardinals. RBI for Carpenter, his second this season.
Hopp has a good throwing arm, and he made that play a lot closer than it probably should have been. Big insurance run there.
And another opportunity here for David Eckstein to drive in a run. This one could be a backbreaker, though, with 2 outs and a lead of 4-0 for the Cardinals.
Grand slam can only tie it now, so you always want to really push to get that extra run. And the Cardinals have been pretty good with 2 out base hits.
Runners at first and third. 2 outs for David Eckstein. He's 1 for 3 tonight. Eckstein is grounded out to short. He's also fly to right. And again, they are shallow. We knew that was going to be the case with the Chris Carpenter, but here it is with the David Eckstein. He's got a little pop. Watch out. Room into left center field. What I find to be interesting is watching Corey Sullivan in left. Now, he's not normally where he's situated in left field. He's towards the line, and then you've got the center fielder bunching towards right center.
So if he hits the ball to the left, they think it would be pretty much straight away, but look for him to hit to the opposite field in the outfield.
Count of 1 ball and 2 strikes.
You see it's straight away out here in left, but the big gap out here is the center fielder shading the right field side.
This is the kind of situation that Eckstein loves, having 2 strikes on him. He says the reason why is that all his thinking is done. If it's around the plate, he's swinging. He doesn't even worry about it.
With 2 strikes, he has the 3rd best average in the National League at .313. And remember, he's 6 for his last 17, a .353 average with runners in scoring position. And 2nd on the club with home batting average.
Taguchi is at 3rd. Molina is at 1st. He's in the hole here. Eckstein with a ball and 2 strikes. 2-2. Eckstein is trying to extend the inning to Mark Ritzelanic. We're in the 6th, and the Cardinals lead it by the score of 4-0. Slow reaction over there by Molina.
Very slow.
Too slow for comfort.
Yeah, one of those. You know, he's got a quick first step, but after that, everything is slow about Molina.
2 strikes, a .313 hitter. 2-2 the count here. Eckstein still alive as he pops it into the seats. Another big crowd here at Busch Stadium. That crowd last night was 44,000. Cardinals on pace to set an all-time attendance record the final season here at Busch of 3.5 million. Anxious moments here for both Clint Hurdle and Tony La Russa.
45,000 for Bud Light T-shirt night tomorrow night.
2-2 pitch. Eckstein out in front, hits it in the air to Preston Wilson. Cardinals will strand 2, but they pick up another run. We played 6. We head to the 7th here in St. Louis. Cardinals on top 4-0. This portion of Cardinal baseball on FSN Midwest is brought to you by Jack in the Box. Jack invites you to come in and experience ciabatta. It's all about the bread. And by your local Chrysler Jeep dealers. Well, we talked about another big crowd here in St. Louis. To join this one as we move to the 7th. Cardinals with a 4-0 lead. Chris Carpenter gets even better when he gets ahead in the count. And tonight, his first pitch strikes with that one right there. Now 16 of 24. The batters that he has seen. I mean, all of a sudden, if you got your 4 pitches working and you can get ahead in the count, that's where you can carve people up and get that strikeout total way up there. You can see when he's ahead in the count, opponents only hitting 183 against him. Conversely, behind 383.
You would think a guy like Carpenter would give up a first pitch home run on occasion, just trying to get ahead, but only 1 home run. 7 of them when he was a bat behind in the count.
1-2 pitch to Brad Hopp. Easy play there for Albert. And that's how we start the 7th.
Not only do you want to get a first pitch strike, but when you retire that first batter, you're well on your way to having a scoreless frame.
Well, you go back to last season, you say, what if? What if Chris Carpenter could finish the season healthy? And what if Matt Morris was healthy pitching in postseason play? A completely different World Series.
Well, we'll find out this year.
Let's hope. Desi Rutherford is flied to center and popped out to first. 0 for 2. And right now, I don't know if there is a better pitcher in baseball than this guy, Chris Carpenter, and what he's done in the month of June and the way he's starting out July.
Well, you and I both voted him as our National League Pitcher of the Month. And rightfully so, as he was 4-1, ERA of 0.90. And then in his last 3 games, he pitched 2 complete game shutouts The third game, he took in a shutout into the 9th inning and gave up a leadoff home run. 20. He had like a .35 ERA for those 3 starts.
1-1 pitch. Outside. That foul tip may have helped out Desi Relaford, just breaking the rhythm of Chris Carpenter. I mentioned that start against Toronto, just faced 1 over the minimum, and first time he had faced his former team. And he kept saying afterwards that people were making a bigger story out of it than it really was. But hey, it's human nature. You're going to be geared up to go against a team that said goodbye to you.
Well, and Halladay had pitched a brilliant game the night before, so I think a lot of people were saying, what if? What if those two were still together?
Throwing David Wells and Roger Clemens. What if those two stuck around? They had the money to keep them.
And Escobar was supposed to be the big 3. He's with the Angels now and on the disabled list.
3-2 pitch. He got him. Strikeout number 9. Mark it down.
And mark it down. A big hello to Jerry Clinton. A free man now.
Midwest Sports Report is coming up. All-star results, a star of the game, and complete post-game coverage. So we'll find out if Albert is going to be the starter over Derek Lee at first base after the game on the Midwest Sports Report. Yeah, congratulations to one of the great people in our community, Jerry Clinton, Gray Eagle, and of course Anheuser-Busch, and decided to say, I've had enough, time to move on, and we wish him the best of luck.
Jerry called me before the game. It's up in, I think, it's Rhode Island, Newport News, Rhode Island, you know, on a yacht. Having a good time. He well deserves.
Carpenter's having a good time tonight. 1-2-3, top of the 7th. It's time to stretch. 4-0 St. Louis. Merchandise winner, the Hyundai long drive inning sweepstakes. If the Cardinals hit a home run in the 7th, Nicole qualifies for the Hyundai Tucson drawing in September. To register, visit the St. Louis area Hyundai dealer. Glad you're with us on FSN Midwest. Dan McLaughlin, Al Rabowski with you, our Bud Sports crew. It's all Cardinals so far with a score of 4-0. And here's Mark Gridzelonic. As Kennedy is still in this game, his pitch count, as we showed you before, is getting up there.
And to give him a little credit, I thought he would be out of this game a while back.
Line shot, that is foul. But the story tonight seems like every 5th day it's the story. It's Chris Carpenter.
And just dominant. Goes out there and just sets the tone. Offense knows that if they give him a run or two, it more than likely will hold up.
The 1-1 pitch is hit to third. Sliding play made by Atkins. Gets up and makes the throw over to Todd Helton. Nice play by the Rockies' third baseman.
Playing well defensively, swinging hot bat, having trouble against Carpenter tonight. But
I don't know about you, but it hasn't seemed like a team that has only won 6 games on the road. They're better than that.
Well, I think they've been energized coming here in this atmosphere.
Clint Hurdle mentioned that today in the newspaper. The fact that you walk into the building, you walk into Busch Stadium, you see that sea of red and all the fans that are here. Their crowds have been down at home. Obviously, they're not winning games. First pitch to Pujols at the knees on the outside corner for a strike.
But a team like this a lot of times will try and play up to the ability. They're going to fall short of the Cardinals, and the Cardinals under Tony La Russa, and with the professionalism they have, they don't play down to teams. They may get up more for certain ones, but I just think these Rockies just look at this atmosphere here and just are envious and want to put on a good show.
0-2 pitch is tapped foul by Pujols. Albert tonight had a solo home run, his 21st back in the first. He has also hit it sharply to third as he grounded out, and on a 3-0 pitch he popped out to the second baseman Aaron Miles. Another 0-2 delivery. They want it upstairs. It's low and in for a ball.
And as Clint also spoke, that a lot of times his team, they may not win, but they'll play hard. They just fall short.
Playing hard with 5 rookies in the lineup tonight. 1-2 the count.
But at one time these club drew well over 4 million. Fastball away, doesn't want it. Change up, doesn't want it. Curveball.
1-2 pitch to Pujols. Sticks the bat out and pulls it foul. Crowd of 40,128 this evening. We had 44,000 plus last night.
Yeah, the all-time attendance records are held by the Colorado Rockies when they first came into existence, and they took a lot of that money and put it in their pockets. They didn't put it back in, and that's why they got all the rookies now.
Up and into Albert, 2-2.
That's why they don't have the crowds that they used to have either. Curveball.
2-2 pitch.
Trying to get this final inning to work out of Kennedy, as he's scheduled to be the first hitter in their 8th. Catcher wants a changeup. He wants to throw a fastball in.
3-2 pitch. Misses inside Albert Pujols. And it's a 1-out walk. Southwest Airlines family of the game. Want to make sure and get this right. Cardinal fans, you have the chance to win tickets and participate in the Southwest Airlines family of the game promotion. During a Cardinals home game, here's your chance. Send your name, address, and phone number to Southwest Airlines family of the game. P.O. Box 771192, St. Louis, Missouri 63177. Here's Reggie Sanders. Swing and a miss.
You do that so well. Am I eligible?
I will make you eligible if you'd like to be eligible, Al. I'll go out on a limb and help you out.
Nah.
You've got a pretty good seat up here.
We got a little better seat here, I think. Don't have the airline seats, but we got a better seat.
Here comes an 0-1 pitch. And it misses into Reggie Sanders. One pitch is popped up behind home plate, and that's going to find the seats. Souvenir right below us. 1-2. Always fun when you come to the ballpark and get a souvenir. And 2 on Reggie. Scott rolling on deck with 1 out. Reggie with a liner into center field. Pujols around second. He's going to test him. The throw into third is not in time. Aggressive base running by Pujols pays off. It's first and third, and only 1 out, and a chance here for Scott Rowland to extend this 4-0 lead.
Just give credit to Albert Pujols right there. He challenged Wilson, who has a fairly strong throwing arm, but goes out here. He's watching the play, and he just took off, put his head down, decided to go in there, and came in safely.
I think he's picked it up in some ways from Larry Walker. How many times now have we seen him going around second and almost slow
down a little bit, try to deke the center field just a little bit, but he also is obsessed with trying to lead the major leagues and runs scored. And that's only a positive.
Cardinals have banged out 8 hits as opposed to the Rockies 4. It's first and third. And Scott Rowland, the hitter, Rowland tonight has been on base twice. He has walked and scored. Part of a 2-run second. He's also singled in the third and hit it hard to center.
I was going to say that last at bat, he lined it out to center. The hardest ball off his bat tonight. And I still maintain that this is his breakout game.
And again, it's worth noting what you said last night about the fact that if he went on a rehab assignment, this would be about the time that he'd be called back up to the major leagues.
Right. He would have had the first plan where to work out with the team in Tampa Bay, and then take a week of rehab at bats. This will be about his 3rd game back, so hit last night. He's going to get a multi-hit game tonight.
How tantalizing was that last pitch? 68 miles an hour just floating in there. Then a fastball at 92 that looks about 110
after a 68.
Range of pitch speed tonight for Joe Kennedy, 92 and 68. Last two pitches. 0-2 pitch. Rolling. Gets a base hit on an 0-2 pitch. And it's 5-0 Cardinals as Pujols will score. Off the end of the bat, out in front, but just enough to get past Atkins and Rutherford. It's 5-0.
Scotty's first RBI since coming back. First multi-hit game. And a knockout blow to this pitcher Kennedy. 0-2, and look at the big sweeping breaking ball, just a hanging pitch up in the zone. Just got enough of it to sneak it through on the left side for that RBI base hit.
The RBI, the first for Rollins since returning from the disabled list. Good to see him back, and his defense 5-0 St. Louis.
During our summer sales,
Cardinals with 9 hits tonight. It's 5-0 St. Louis, and the last hit picked up by Scott Rowland, and it's an RBI. Cardinal Baseball, a production of Bud Sports and an exclusive presentation of FSN Midwest. Runners at first and second. Cardinals trying to add to this lead. And a new pitcher is in, Bobby C. This will be his 13th appearance. No record thus far. ERA of 6, and opponents hitting .368 against him.
He was let go by Devil Rays and picked up by Colorado in exchange for Reggie Taylor.
Walker on the first pitch. Pops it back and foul.
I don't know if you remember, but at the time of expansion for Arizona and Tampa Bay, there were 4 #1 draft picks of different teams that were ruled unrestricted free agents.
Matt White was
Matt
one.
White, Bobby C, Travis Lee, and I can't remember who the other one, because they were not, given a bona fide offer by the drafted team within a required time. It's kind of a rule that nobody had ever applied, and these guys all got multi-million-dollar contracts.
And Matt White got $10 million.
He got $10.5 million, a high school pitcher, and you can't tell me that at some point he was going to fail, and all of a sudden you start looking and you got $10 million in the bank. You blew $500,000. You say, well, maybe it is a little tougher to get to the big leagues than I thought, but you almost destroy that competitive nature.
0-2 pitch to Walker, a broken bat, and can they turn 2? It's going to be tough. They cannot. I love the irony of the situation, though, with Travis Lee. He gets 4 years, $10 million. And at the time, his agent is the one and only Jeff Morad, who now is trying to run the Arizona Diamondbacks and keep those salaries down, trying to make it work within a budget.
I think if Miles would have had that chance to do that over, he would have thrown to first base first, and then they would have had the first baseman Helton would have had a chance to go back and have at least the runner in between first and second in a rundown.
2 outs, a chance for Sotoguchi as an RBI tonight, and he's 1 for 2. And so lifts it into right field. This should do it. Catch is made, and we move to the 8th. The Cardinals add to their lead on an RBI base hit from Scott Rowland. 5-0 Cardinals. This week on the Fox Saturday Baseball Game of the Week, division rivals return as the Braves and Phillies collide as both teams try to move up in the standings in the tight NL East. Coverage begins Saturday at noon, and it's only on Fox Channel 2 KTVI here in St. Louis. Well, how about Chris Carpenter? He has driven in as many runs as he has allowed in the last 33 innings he's been on the mound. Think about that.
One run he's allowed, and 1 run he's driven in tonight.
Sacrifice fly to right. Pitch count at 101 for Carpenter. Activity in the Cardinals bullpen. Ray King is getting loose. 1 ball, 1 strike. As Roy Halladay would say after his start against the Cardinals, he likes to pitch to contact. And the reason why, your pitch count stays lower. And here tonight, you've got Chris Carpenter trying to mow him down with strikeout after strikeout. He has got 9 tonight, so your pitch count will be elevated.
He usually walks less than 2 a game. And he's walked 2, so those strikeouts add up. Still, you'd like to get him into double figures. He's got 2 strikes hit on the pinch hitter. Get him now.
Eddie Garabito picked up his first major league hit against the Cardinals in that series in which the Redbirds split with Colorado. Line drive and a base hit past Carpenter. Leadoff man here in the 8th is aboard.
The only innings they have got hits, the 4th and 6th, and now the 8th inning. The leadoff man is reached via a base hit.
Reason why you see the left-hander up for St. Louis. You've got a left-handed bat here. You've got Aaron Miles, a switch hitter.
And then Helton.
And then Todd Helton. Third baseman Scott Rowland in on the grass, and the first pitch is fouled. Sullivan tonight has struck out twice, and he's also grounded out to second.
Rookie still batting .301.
Nothing in 2 the count.
Carpenter's been able to pound some of these guys inside with a fastball or cutter. And other times he throws that sinker that comes back to the plate as they give out on it. Here's the cutter.
0-2 pitch. Hit into left field. That'll hang out there for Reggie. He makes the play. 1 down. Chris Carpenter with 1 out here in the top of the 8th and a runner at first. MLB text. You can get in-game scores, stats, and more. You can just text the word Cardinals or MLBGO on your cell phone. We talked about it, that Carpenter maybe not as sharp as we have seen him, but still dominant here tonight. That last pitch, a very good example of that.
As a cutter, they just was up over the middle of the plate. Really didn't have much of a sink to it. But, you know, when you can throw a shutout when you're a little bit out of whack or a little out of sync, just tells you how good you are.
It was an 0-2 pitch to Corey Sullivan that he got away with. 1-0 pitch and a swing and a miss by Miles.
Now, you know, it's just a minor little thing, but it's a cutter that's supposed to come in on him, and you see it just kind of sitting up there out over the plate, not really moving. A lot of times the breaking ball has gotten away from him, but this is how good he is. He can still dominate a team.
He would love a double play. The Cardinals turned one earlier back in the 6th. How about one more? Oh, bobbled by Eckstein, but still they get the lead man. Fielder's choice 6-4 on that play, and it brings up Todd Helton with a runner at first.
No one feels worse than David, but it's been a long time since he's committed an error.
I was about to say that. He's committed 9 this season. He's been stuck on 9 for a long time.
Ball came up on him a little bit, but he still got the big out. Tony may come out here and he's kind of looking to the bullpen, but he might just ask Carpenter. Nope, he's not even going to ask. They need to take it away.
Let's hear the response by the fans. Camera work and the salute on this 4th of July by Tony Angelis, our cameraman in that left field corner. You can see his view out there, and he's got the flag ready to go all weekend long. We hope you get off to a good start on this Friday night to this holiday weekend. Fair St. Louis here in downtown St. Louis, and Ray King will take over, the 30-year-old. And the first man that he will see will be Todd Helton. After a little bit of a shaky start for Ray King this year, he's been outstanding.
He leads the team, team's left-handers, with his 39th appearance and pitched since Tuesday. First batters retired 30 of 38 and inherited runners only 4 of 28 have scored. Sixth amongst National League relievers and stranding runners.
Let's take a look at Tony Angelis's work out there in the left field corner. That's how far that camera can get in there. And if he backs it off, you'll see how far he can get wide and show the different angles and the plays at first and how far he is getting that shot of Tony La Russa. Look at that, all the way down the left field corner. It looks like you're sitting next to Tony in that dugout. And that's from the dugout camera. Shooting our buddy Tony in the left field corner. Our guys are the best in the business. We appreciate their hard work. 2 outs. The batter is Todd Helton. Ray King in relief of Chris Carpenter, 7 2/3. First pitch and a foul ball. That hurts Todd Helton tonight on base twice. He is singled, he's walked, and he's also flied to left.
Sinker, you just foul right off your foot. Walk around a little bit, try and get the pain to subside.
Julian Tavares is getting loose in the bullpen. We haven't seen him since Tuesday night against Cincinnati.
You know, when you come into a game following a performance like Carpenter's tonight, extra incentive to make sure that runner doesn't score.
Because that runner will be charged to Chris Carpenter.
And, you know, you really take pride in getting those combined shutouts, but it's when you can, a starter goes out and pitches a brilliant ball game, and you can do your part to keep his runner stranded. You know, that's where you just get that little extra incentive. Feel like you're just part of this pitching staff, and this is the pitching staff that has the lowest ERA in the National League.
Now, what do you go with here on 0-2? Ray King talks about having 2 different sliders available to him.
Throw your harder one, go off the plate, or you can pound them inside but off the plate. See if they don't try and go away. Molina gave me an idea it was going to go inside, but see, Ray's thinking with me. Didn't want the slider away, but wants the fastball away.
0-2 pitch, fastball away, and just misses. So a very good pitch on 0-2.
Good pitch. You know, in many ways you do not want that hitter to even swing. You want to either be called as a perfect pitch. Now you throw the slider out there.
The 1-2 pitch. Helton just sticks the bat out. Past Ray King, that bat goes.
That's like a perfect pitch, and that's the only thing he could do was to foul it off, stay alive, was basically throw the bat at it.
It's funny when we're in that clubhouse before games, as you'll see Helton just foul this one away. You'll see Tavares look over the lineup card. He says, okay, I see the right-handers. Let me see what they've got off the bench. And for Ray King, it's a look at this. Whether it be Cincinnati and you've got Adam Dunn or King Griffey Jr. or Sean Casey, he knows that's going to be his duty. And he'll study the film maybe of a guy like Todd Helton before the game.
Pitch in.
Just missing, low and away.
And that is something that they do now that we never used to do, but it really makes a lot of sense, is also carry a lineup card to the bullpen. You know, mentally, you don't have that many people to remember, but it is a nice reminder for some guys to see who's on the bench.
2-2 pitch, and again Helton spoils it.
Broke his bat this time.
This is what scares you with a guy like Todd Helton. He's fouled off a couple of very good pitches from Ray King. He stayed away and not even swung at a couple of borderline pitches that were called for balls. As some anxious moments now for Carpenter, but as we talked about it before, the more that he sees, the more dialed in he gets.
Well, it's just, you know, it's just a fact, mathematical fact. The more pitches you see, the more chance you have to see a mistake. So far, Ray has not made one.
Or you pick up arm angles or
slider away,
speeds of pitches. He got him with the slider. Big strikeout for Ray King. Helton retired. We move to the bottom of the 8th. Molina due up first, and we come back in this sea of red, enjoying it tonight here at Busch. Game recap is brought to you by Bank of America, the official bank of Major League Baseball. Rack them up. Here come the strikeouts from Mr. Carpenter. A bunch tonight. 7 2/3. No runs. 5 hits. He walked 2 and he struck out 9. Meanwhile, for the Cardinals offensively, Carpenter helping out. He drives in a run, his second RBI this season. And for Carpenter, that made it 4-0. Now 5-0. Yadier Molina on the first pitch from Matt Anderson is hit into right field. It'll be taken there by Brad Hopp. One pitch, one out. He's keeping score all night long over there.
It's the official scorekeeper, isn't he? Started out with him in the first inning.
Yes, we did. Look at those numbers for Carpenter in his last 4 starts. That's about as dominating as you get. 33 2/3 innings and only 14 hits, and the ERA of .27. That's it for Carpenter. .27. The pinch hitter now, it's John Mabry. Matt Anderson, one of those unique stories in baseball, a guy that could get it up to triple digits. That pitch at 95 miles an hour as he signed a long-term contract extension with Detroit, and all of a sudden he kind of fell apart. Things didn't really go too well for him.
#1 draft pick in the country in '97.
Mabry turns on that pitch. That's going to drop. Yes. Off a hop, and Mabry's on his way to second base. Can't fault the effort. Another great effort out there by Brad Hopp. He has made 3 very, very good plays. Almost number 4. Looked like he had it, and then as he hit the ground, it knocked out of his glove.
Busy all night long. Got the first 2 plays, then the ball's in there, and then when he hit the ground, he just almost like the glove ejected it. It wasn't that he hit the ground so hard. It was out in the webbing, very flexible, and just popped loose. So a double for Mabry, the Cardinals' 10th hit of the night.
So nobody up in the Cardinals bullpen. We did see Tavares up earlier. Here's David Eckstein with a runner at second. That's John Mabry. And a fastball misses in at 94 miles an hour.
Not a save situation, so you would think that Tavares would start the 9th, and since he was up earlier, he may wait to an out or 2 before returning to the bullpen mound.
Eckstein tonight is 1 for 4. A rare off-speed delivery from Matt Anderson. Usually it's #1 coming at you, a fastball. Mentioned that Tavares has not pitched since Tuesday against Cincinnati. That's the last time that we saw Isringhausen. And it's worth noting his next save will be number 200 of his career. That's your Budweiser board. Cordero of Texas with 28. That's the major league save leaders. Of course, Trevor Hoffman of San Diego at 21. I misspoke. I meant Washington, and that one is hit into right field and slices foul. Washington has put together a surprise year, but according to Frank Robinson, not a surprise at all, as they picked up Guzman, and they've got Livan Hernandez anchoring their starting rotation. Cordero has been a very good closer.
They're closing in on the Cardinals. Cardinals are trying to win their 50th game. Washington this afternoon won their 48th.
2 balls, 2 strikes on David Eckstein, number 22 of the Cardinals. Number that was worn for many years by Mike Matheny. We'll see him next weekend in San Francisco. 5-0 St. Louis. Full count on Eckstein. Ball 4. It was an off-speed pitch on 3-2 that he threw to David Eckstein, and here's a guy that brings it close to triple digits. Got to have a little confidence in that fastball.
I think that fastball's a little straight too, though.
Runners at first and second for Grudzielanek. A pitch in the dirt for ball 1. Mark is hitting .289. He is flying to right. Twice he has grounded to third and fly to center field. 84 degrees our game time temperature when we started back at 7:10. Perfect night for baseball. Grudzielanek into left center field. That is trouble, and it's going to be caught. Neither runner was tagging up. They both went halfway. So Mabry back to second base and Eckstein back to first.
That ball hung up a long time, and I think they both thought, Cardinal runners thought that it was going to get down. And maybe it does not work to Grizzwanik's favor, but maybe it works to Pujols' favor with runners at first and second. They couldn't.
First base occupied.
They couldn't just put Albert on if they both advanced.
Albert Pujols tonight with a solo home run, his 21st, his 65th RBI. He's grounded to third, and he's popped out to second, walked and scored on an RBI base hit by Scott Rowland. Rowland's first since coming off the disabled list. That was back in the 7th. A little extra giddy up on that fastball. 96 in our gun.
A couple runs scored. Albert with that home run, his first time up, extends his hitting streak to 13 games.
Abraham Nunez has moved on to the on deck circle. Good breaking ball. 1 ball, 1 strike. Don't forget now, we're going to come your way tomorrow at 5:30 with Cardinals tonight. It's a rare Saturday night game on FSN. 1-1 pitch. Rockies in the 9th will have Preston Wilson, Garrett Atkins, and Brad Hobb. Number 5 on that bat handle on the knob. Into right field. Base hit. The throw to the plate is offline. Mabry scores. Pujols moves up to second. Another RBI for Albert. 6-0 St. Louis.
Hands high. And then he has that level swing, attacking the ball, slicing a vicious line drive out into right. Mabry with 2 outs. He's off to the races. He just put his head down. As soon as you hear contact, you react to where the throw is. This guy's got a good arm, but a high trajectory and offline, missing the cutoff man, missing his catcher, and the pitcher had to back it up.
Abraham Nunez, the second man used off the bench tonight for the Cardinals. Runners at second and third. It's 6-0. Congratulations to Abraham and his wife Rosa. Little baby girl yesterday, Marie, was born. Everybody healthy, so congratulations to the Nunez family.
A couple boys preceded the young lady.
Nunez has seen his playing time cut considerably because of the return of Scott Rowland. But you've seen he's a very, very valuable bench player for Tony La Russa.
And a guy that familiar with this role will stay active and ready and will never complain.
Hitting .312 this season with 19 RBIs. 1-2. It's a tough role when you come off the bench and face a guy that's throwing mid-90s or higher. You haven't seen a pitch all night. And that's why some of these guys are the best in the world at what they do.
Yeah, and sometimes you get that philosophy of, if you throw that hard, just pump gas.
Good example of that was Pujols just kind of going with the pitch.
Yeah, but I mean, when you talk about a bench guy coming here who's been sitting for 2.5 hours and he's got one shot at it, you sit there and say a lot of times you're doing him a favor by throwing something off speed.
John Mabry picked up a double, came around to score off the bench. A grounder to second. The Cardinals are done. They strand 2. They've left 10 on tonight, but they have plated 6. Albert with 2 more RBIs. Cardinals baseball on FSN Midwest is brought to you by Anheuser-Busch, saluting America's responsible drinkers. Responsibility matters. By Taco Bell. Stop by Taco Bell for the new Crunch Wrap Supreme. All your favorite Taco Bell tastes sealed up in a grilled flour tortilla, so it's good to go. And by Pontiac, brought to you by the first ever Pontiac G6. Go to www.pontiac.com. Hope you've been keeping score at home with us tonight on FSN. All Cardinals. And Chris Carpenter, 6-0 St. Louis. John Mabry stays in the ball game after his double and runs scored. In the bottom of the 8th, he'll play left field. And a new pitcher for the Cardinals is Julian Tavares, his 38th appearance this season.
As a team leading 19 holes, first in the National League. Of course, not a safe situation here. Just going to try and close this ball game out. The Cardinals are ahead 6-0. Jason Isringhausen is throwing as insurance behind Julian, but we don't want any suspenses in the night.
For Julian, facing one of many former teams, San Francisco, Colorado, just to name a couple.
Cleveland.
Real good years in Cleveland. Preston Wilson, the first hitter. 79-mile-an-hour strike. Wilson tonight 1 for 3 with a single. It's 4 for 11 against the Cardinal right-hander. Chops it left side, easily handled by Scott Rowland. And with one out here in the 9th, let's check in with Dan Potash and get a look at the Midwest Sports Report.
All right, guys, thank you very much.
Garrett Atkins has hit into a double play and struck out twice, 0 for 3. Fastball and a strike, trying to extend his hitting streak. 8-game streak on the line here in his final at bat, possibly. Looked like on that ground ball to Scott Rowland, he lost it in the lights. I said handled easily, but really it wasn't. He was battling the lights.
Well, we'll show you that when we get a chance here. Watch here. See, it's a high hopper, and then watch how he'll shy away, grimacing, tries to remember where he last saw it. He gets lost in a bank of lights, and then when it comes through, you hope that your glove is the same height.
And that's how good he is. I mean, you could see that he didn't foul that ball into his glove at all. But anticipated where it was going to be. 2 balls and a strike on Atkins. Had a pair of hits last night, including a home run. 3-1 on a pitch that's high and outside. Cardinal bullpen trying to preserve the shutout. 6-0 St. Louis. Trying to get the win for Chris Carpenter. This would be victory number 50 tonight for the Cardinals. Grounder onto the lights this time for Rowland. 2 outs.
A little bit easier down there. You know, they were at Dodger Stadium at one time. They moved the, moved home plate, and it really messed with the lights with third baseman. And sometimes, remember that ball that he lost in lights, it was a high hopper, and so it kind of bounced right up, and he saw it in this bank of lights. That was a D for bad effort.
There's Hop. If the Cardinals hold on, looks like they will, Chris Carpenter will be tied with Dontrelle Willis for the most wins in the National League with 12. Came in 6th best in ERA at 2.77. That's going to drop.
How about both those guys being so gracious and trying to give the other the all-star starting assignment?
He's now only 2 strikeouts back of Pedro Martinez for the league lead. After 9 tonight. Came in with 113 innings pitched, 7 2/3 added on to that tonight.
I think the last time a Cardinal pitcher led the league in strikeouts was Jose De Leon.
Yep.
How many people thought of that name for a while? Boy.
2-1 pitch. Hit down the left field line. It is slicing and foul. I heard it earlier this year when we talked about Mark Mulder and what he did against Houston, those 10 innings. And tonight's play of the game is brought to you by Bud Light. It was back in the first, got things started for the Cardinals. They have never looked back. Pujols line shot into left, his 21st home run. He's had 2 RBIs tonight, but it was Jose De Leon that was the last Cardinal to have 10 innings of shutout baseball until Mark Mulder. Crowd on their feet. 40,128.
To the 13th game-winning RBI.
2-2 pitch. Will come your way tomorrow at 5:30 with Cardinals tonight. Marquis and Jamie Wright. Marquis will look for victory number 9.
Big crowd stuck around for this one.
2-2. He got him. Game over. Win number 50. Chris Carpenter is now 12-4. What a job and what a performance he put on tonight. A shutout for the Cardinals. Good work out of the pen by King and Tavares. Will come your way tomorrow at 5:30. Midwest Sports Report comes your way now.
Back to the action. Rockies Cards. Albert Pujols, 12-game hit streak. I think
well, you know why we're showing him. See ya!
A laser off of Joe Kennedy. 21st of the year. Make it a 13-game hit streak. Meanwhile, Chris Carpenter looking to become the second 12-game winner in the National League. Garrett Atkins.
What a great story for the Cardinals, Chris Carpenter is. A guy that they picked up when he was hurt. They nursed him back to health, got him back out there, and he has been an absolute #1 for them ever since.
9 strikeouts in 7 scoreless. Cards win 6-0. Astros, Reds, top 2. It's 3-0.